Hi, I'm Dr. Kathy. Today we are going to explore the techniques of a great storyteller. I'm going to tell a story for you in 3 parts. The first part I'm going to tell is going to be demonstrating 2 important techniques that a great storyteller uses. One of them is eye contact, and the second one is stance. Now, when I tell a story, where do you think I look? Do I look at the floor? Do I look at the ceiling? No, I look at you. And that's what I want you to practice. Watch where I put my eyes. And the second thing we're going to look at is stance. How do I hold my body? What is my posture like? Do you want to stand when you tell, or do you want to sit? I like to do both. This is something you can play with. For example, if you want to sit down, try sitting in a chair that has no arms, and then your arms are free to move and they won't get bumped. Also, don't sit right at the back of the chair like you're relaxed. Sit at the edge of the chair like you're on the edge of your seat. That's anticipation. It will make the listener feel like they're on the edge of their seat. If you have one, I suggest using a stool. That's what I like, because I can get up and down off of a stool much more easily. So I prefer a stool, and I also like to stand. Standing gives me a lot more ability to move around, but don't pace. If you start doing this back and forth, it doesn't express the meaning of the story, and it distracts the listener from the story. So the story we're going to listen to right now is a Jamaican tale, and it's called Gollin Wife. Long ago there was a man who was looking for a wife, and everywhere he went, the women did not please him. He'd find himself a beautiful woman, and he'd say, not pretty enough for me. He'd find himself a woman who could cook so well, and he'd say, can't cook well enough for me. This man could find no one that pleased him. One day, he was walking down the road, only thinking about himself, and he bumped into an old woman. The old woman fell right down in the dirt, and the cloud of dust all came up. She was coughing, but he paid no mind. He just walked right on by. Well, she struggled up to her feet, brushed herself off, and she said, hey, you mind? The man turned around, looked at her, and said, shut up, you old fool. Well, the old woman said, I'm telling you, you mind. He said, I don't gotta listen to you. I got troubles of my own. Yeah, you got troubles, she says. You are too picky. Everyone knows it. And if you don't find yourself a good woman, you are going to end up marrying a cat or a bird. Yeah, yeah, the man says, I know what's wrong with you. And he kept right on walking. 3 whole weeks went by, and a woman came to town, a woman he'd never seen before. And she looked so nice. And when she talked, the biggest words come out of her mouth. She was so smart. Well, the man, he was crazy in love with her. And he said, please, won't you marry me, please? And the woman says, sure, I'll marry you, but it's got to be today. Well, the man said, all right, I'll marry you today. And he went off and he got a preacher, and they stood right in the middle of the road. Well, everyone in the village watched. Well, this beautiful woman married this man. No one could believe it. Well, it was time to take her home. He was so excited. He had a nice home, lots of property, but then he got worried. It was too much to do, and it was the woman's job at this time to take care of the house and the land and, take care of the goat. He didn't want her to work so hard. So he said, you stay here, wife. I'll be right back. And he went back into town, and he found himself a boy, a young boy. The boy's living out on the street, poor thing. His parents had died, but he was a good boy. And the man said, listen, I tell you what, I'll make you a deal. You come live in my house. You help my wife. You do whatever she wants. You tend the garden. You feed the goat. You help with the cooking. And I'll give you a good bed to sleep in, good food to eat, and a coin. Well, The boy thought this was a good deal, and he said, "Sure, I'll come live in your house. I'll help you a while." And the boy moved in with the man and his wife. There was something about this boy that nobody knew, and it was the fact that he had a sense about people, and every time he stood beside that woman, he got the strangest feeling in the bottom of his stomach. He couldn't figure out what it was. I mean, she was nice enough. She cooked nice food. She took care of the house. But there was something wrong. And one night at dinner, he realized what it was. She never ate the food. She cooked it. She put it on the plate. But she never put the food in her mouth. And the boy wondered, how does she eat? That night at dinner, she pushed the plate away. She said, "Oh, I have such a headache. I think I'll just go in the back of the yard and feed the birds." And she went out the back door, and the boy thought, wonder what she's doing at the back of the yard. I'll stop the story there. Did you notice how I got up and down? How I sat on the edge of my stool? How I didn't pace? And how I looked right at my audience. Now, if my audience was larger, I'd have to look back and forth. But right now, I just have to look at you. That's what I want you to practice when you retell this part of the story.